where are we at with the whole Floyd Conor thing?
I don't know where we're at. We're nowhere. We're nowhere with it.
Because Floyd told Freddie Roach, go start training Conor and get ready. It's going to happen. So
yeah, we're nowhere. And Conor wouldn't train with anybody. Conor's got his own team and his own crew, and I expect Conor's next fight to be in the UFC in mixed martial arts, and the winner of Khabib and Ferguson.
Because Conor seems like he's chasing that boxing fight next. Yeah.
Well, the thing's going to be millions of dollars. The guy could make anywhere from $30 to $60 million. Khabib and Ferguson hate each other.
That's what I was talking to. Yeah, that trash talk's been really heating up.
Oh, yeah, those guys hate each other. That fight's going to be good. I mean, listen, both guys
He said he's going to rip his face off. Khabib said that, right?
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, they're going to – it's going to be a good fight. Two nasty guys, number one and number two in the world. It doesn't get any better than that.
A lot of people don't think Conor can hang with Khabib.
Conor can – listen, people have been doubting Conor since the day he stepped onto the scene.
They're still doubting.
Khabib is awesome. Khabib is tough. But people have been doubting him since day one.
Back when you were negotiating deals in literal alleys for fights and for reality television extensions, that the maximum amount this business would get, where would you have put that number if I went back to that space with you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I ever thought about $4 billion, but in 2010, we got offered $1.2 billion and we turned it down.
Well, hold on. How did it feel to say no to $1.2 billion? Because I can't imagine you probably never thought in your life that someone would offer you $1.2 billion for anything and you would say, no, that's not enough.
I know. Well, it wasn't that we said no, and without giving too many of the specifics, which really aren't important, I didn't have a great relationship with part of the company that we were negotiating with. And the call lasted about 45 seconds. And I was in Hawaii and Lorenzo was in Las Vegas. And, I got in this huge blow up during the call. And Lorenzo called me back and goes, well, I guess we're not selling it to those guys.
That doesn't seem like being a very good advocate for Lorenzo, what are you doing there? Like, that's not the way to handle that one. Why are you such a hothead? What's the matter with you?
Hey, somebody's offering you $1.2 billion. You had an attitude?
Honestly.
Yeah, that's the way it went. Hey, it all worked out in the long run. If it wasn't for me, maybe we would have sold for $1 billion too.
What's the worst you've ever felt watching something happen where you cared about the fighter and the fighter was getting their skull caved in?
Yeah, well, Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell got knocked out by Rampage Jackson. That was a really tough one for me. And then the Ronda Rousey one was tough. It happens. There's people that you get close to, and when they lose, it's tough. It's one of those things. You got to be happy for the person who's won because it's such a great, achievement for them. Yet on the other side, when you personally care about somebody and you see them go down, it is tough to do.
Well, does it work the other way? Because I imagine you might occasionally enjoy watching somebody get kicked in the face.
That's a good question right there.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
Well, no, but give us a time where you've really enjoyed somebody getting beat up.
Well, off the top of my head, I don't know. But yeah, listen, everybody knows there was a long history between me and Tito Ortiz.
Yes, Tito.
I was about to say off the top of your head. No, off the top of your head, this is the thing that you know. You know who you want to see get kicked in the face that works for you.
Right. The Patriots won the Super Bowl. Yeah, you know that?
That's what we're going to
do. Which was the Tito Ortiz fight that you enjoyed the most?
Chuck Liddell. He was refusing to fight Chuck Liddell for a long time, and then finally when that fight happened, Chuck knocked Tito out. Chuck actually gave me the gloves and trunks that he wore that night in that fight. Yeah, it was a huge battle between Tito Ortiz, myself, and Chuck Liddell.
Did I hear right, or am I misinterpreting that you said if Conor goes and boxes without doing it through the UFC, he's going to have a big problem with you and the UFC?
Well, Conor's under contract. Conor's under contract with the UFC, and in the contract it specifically states boxing, wrestling, or any other type of combat sport. So, throughout Conor's career with us here over the last 4 years, I've shown Conor nothing but respect, done things that I normally wouldn't do for other fighters, And Conor has been the same way. There's very few guys who step up on 10 days' notice and fight a completely different opponent. If you look at all the greats throughout history in the UFC, Conor is the one guy who will literally fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. Late notice, replacements, this, that. So, you know, I respect the guy, but we have a deal. Listen, you want to go, he's got 4 fights left in his contract. Honor your contract, and then go do whatever you want to do.
What's the angriest you've been with Conor?
To be honest with you, I'm not angry with him now. I'm not angry with him. Conor McGregor has been an amazing, force for us. The guy's been incredible. Some of the greatest fights we've ever had, some of the biggest pay-per-views, and I love his attitude. I love he'll step up and he'll fight anybody. I love that about the kid. It's always the most talented, crazy artist-type guys that are always the hardest to deal with, but Conor McGregor is worth every ounce of it.
Back to Cerrone. Is he staying at he looked phenomenal at 170.
Yeah, he did look phenomenal
That's
at 170.
That's his second fight at 170, correct?
Now, Cerrone, at the press conference, comes out and says, I don't know if the UFC loves me if you look at my paycheck. Okay, now, me and Cerrone are as tight can be, okay? And there's a lot of personal stuff with me and Cerrone, too, on the positive side, right? But the kid made over $200,000 on a fight on free TV on the co-main event, and the gate was $900,000. I mean, how much money does Cerrone expect to make on the co-main event? The kid looks great. Never held a world title, right? And made over $200,000. Co-main event, $900,000 gate, free TV.
Yeah, Cerrone's...
And we've talked, me and Cerrone.
And have you made that point to him? I'm imagining you have.
He absolutely agreed. What he said to me is, I was half joking.
Yeah.
I love him. He looked phenomenal. And the thing is with Cerrone is so inconsistent. Cerrone will come out and look like a world beater, then go out and get stopped in the first round and buy a body shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, we talk, we've spoken about this personally, me and you. Some guys, they'll be phenomenal, and then when they get that major, whether it's a title shot or the fight, listen, every fight's the most important fight for you, but there are all those fights that'll change your life, which is going for the belt and having that main event fight where you just come up kind of short, and that's kind of been Cerrone's not curse, but it's happened more than once. But first of all, the guy's never in a boring fight, which is awesome. That's why he's such a fan favorite. But sometimes when he gets to that top, there's a little bit of a stumble. And I love the guy.
You want to hear something crazy?
I never miss a Cowboy fight.
Cowboy Cerrone is texting me right now.
Okay. Tell him we said hi.
Hold on. Let me see what Cowboy Cerrone has to say.
Oh, no, I hope it's not a picture text. Things are really changing. You ever send the wrong picture text to somebody?
Yeah, what, your cock?
Of course. What else? Of course. I've never sent a photo of anything.
By the way,
else.
this show's called Unfiltered, people, so you should already know about our language.
I want to know what Cerrone is saying right now.
Yeah, what is going on over there?
He said he wants to get together. He wants to come in and he wants to talk.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Good,
we'll get together. I love the kid. I love him. Professionally and personally, I love Cowboy Cerrone. So,
And he's a
hey, every once in a while, listen, this day and age, every fighter on earth, especially when you look at the money that Conor and Ronda and some of these people are making out there, it gets crazy. And, listen, everybody wants to make $1 million. Everybody wants to make $1 million, but some people get there and some people don't.
Well, that's the way it is. Is guys see that, a lot of times as any type of performer, fighter, whatever you are, you watch somebody, like you said, Ronda, the top of the heap financially, and you're like, wow, I'm not doing that well. But it's like compared to everybody else, you're doing amazing. There's just a few people ahead of you, and it looks like you're not doing well compared to them, but you got to look at all the people you're doing better than.
Well, I think the thing that's frustrating, especially for a guy like Cowboy Cerrone, he has the personality. Everybody loves the kid. His fighting style is fucking exactly what I like. It's right up my alley. Everything that I love about a fighter, Cowboy Cerrone is. And he's a couple fights away from having that big fight. But like Matt just said, you got to win them all. Every one is the most important, and you got to work your way up, and you got to win those big fights, And Cowboy, again, a kid that I love, hasn't always taken everything so serious. You can't be fucking
rock climbing 2 days before your fight, or wakeboarding the day of your fight, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Some of the stuff that this guy does. You want to make that serious big money, you have to get in the right mindset. And the way that he looked the other night against Patrick Cote is the way you have to fight it when you fight Dos Anjos or Diaz or any of the big guys. When you get to that big fight, you got to win. Look at Matt Serra. Matt Serra was on the comeback season of The Ultimate Fighter. Which, again, I love when people fucking, this is a fucking joke. These guys are going to come off the comeback and fight fucking George St. Pierre, and he knocks George St. Pierre out in the first round. Matt, how much did your life change after that fight?
Dude, look, I'm hanging out with Jim Norton right now.
Exactly. It went right down the toilet.
It went right. What the fuck? This is what happened to me? No. Listen, I'm still riding that wave, brother. I'm still.